Given that you know where droughts happened during the 20th century, can you explain how the forcing data was used and how you used it to almost recreate those droughts?
Our source of data for the analysis, like twofolds. We spent, what I see is hydrological data brings into the WATCH project an added value, because it, in terms of running large-scale models, they normally evaluated or validated against stream flow from rather large catchment like the Rhine or the Danube, the Amazons, and when we wanted to bring in new data for more extensive, say, more thorough both evaluation of the models, but also to look at the observations themselves, to see for the historical events, and then use these observed data to say something about how can we trust the models. And perhaps we find in some region, for some regimes, that we can trust some of the models better than others, or in some regions, and from that those conclusions, then we can say more about whether we trust those models for the future predictions. So that was the starting point, and then to get a more extensive data set that was then up to now currently being used in the large-scale model community, where they had these, say, 8 to 10 large basins across Europe for their model evaluation. We collected in a major effort. It really took a lot of time. It was built on an existing data set from the UNESCO FRIEND project, but of daily stream flow data for several hundred small catchments in Europe. And we then really want them to be near natural, with as little human influence as possible, as only then can you say something about changes in climate drivers and what it would have an impact for the hydrology, and then in particular the extremes. And again, these large catchment, they do have human impacts, and in order to use them in a model comparison against observation, often you have to naturalize the series. So we try to avoid that, and then if you then want to try to get near natural catchment, you really have to go down in size, because they don't exist in Europe. Europe is a developed area, so then we had, based on the data set that existed from the FRIEND project, most of them stopped in 1992, and we think particular in terms of detecting more recent changes that you need to update. So we managed to update around more than 400 stream flow daily time series across Europe.
And that was just going back to the measuring agencies to get the data?
Yeah, we had to go back to the agencies, and it's I think that's the challenge in Europe as compared to the US, where you have to approach the national agencies, but in some countries like Germany, you have the different states, like the Baden-Württemberg area, where you have to approach each of these, because it's not centralized. There's a regional office, so you have to contact each of these. So I don't know how many. This was done by the researcher Kerstin Stahl, now back in Germany, with the support of our group, with every country. Like we from Norway, we had also NBE on board, so they could provide an update of the Nordic data set, and then of course all the partners involved in WATCH could help, but then we also tried to go beyond that. And it ended up with an update from 15 countries.